The velvet curtains of rock and roll's golden era have drawn closed on one of its most luminous and mercurial figures. Jackson, the ghost, Thorne, the enigmatic frontman of the Electric Orchard and the architect of the London psych folk sound, has passed away at the age of 82. Thorne died peacefully at his home in the Cotswolds on Tuesday morning. His family confirmed the news, stating that he was surrounded by his collection of vintage Martin guitars and the handwritten lyric journals that mapped the psyche of a generation. His heart, which had beat to the rhythm of 1,000 stadium anthems, simply decided it was time for the long fade-out. The man who saw the sound. To call Jackson Thorne a singer is like calling the Pacific Ocean a puddle. Born in a bombed-out flat in East London in 1943, Thorne didn't just play music, he inhabited it. By the time 1966 rolled around, he was the undisputed face of the counterculture, a tall, willow-thin figure with a shock of obsidian hair and eyes that seemed to see 3 minutes into the future. While his contemporaries were writing about fast cars and teenage love, Thorne was delving into the subconscious. He was the bridge between the grit of British blues and the ethereal heights of mysticism. His 1967 masterpiece, The Violet Alibi, changed the architecture of the recording studio forever. He was among the first to treat the studio itself as an instrument, famously recording the sound of a shattering light bulb and slowing it down to create the haunting, metallic bass line for the hit single, Glass Cathedral. A career defined by paradox. Thorne's career was a masterclass in staying relevant without ever chasing a trend. He possessed the rare ability to disappear for years, only to reemerge exactly when the culture needed a wake-up call. He was a man of contradictions, a recluse who performed for millions, a multimillionaire who spent decades living in a converted lighthouse, and a rock star who eventually preferred the company of his herb garden to the VIP lounges of Los Angeles. The night at Wembley. Every legend has a defining moment, and for Thorne, it was the 1969 Solstice show at Wembley. As the sun set, Thorne stood alone on stage with nothing but a 12-string acoustic and a primitive feedback loop. He played a 20-minute version of Ode to the Unseen that reportedly left the audience in such a state of collective trance that they stayed in their seats for an hour after he had left the stage. "Jackson didn't play for us," David Bowie once remarked in an archival interview. "He played through us. He was the lightning rod for all the weird, beautiful energy we were too afraid to touch." The final act. In his later years, Thorne became a mentor to the new guard. He was often seen backstage at Glastonbury or Coachella, sharing tea and advice with indie rockers and electronic producers alike. He famously refused to use a smartphone, claiming that the best vibrations happen when you aren't looking for a signal. His final album, Echoes from the Lighthouse, released just last year, was a stripped-back, haunting reflection on mortality. It featured the poignant lyric, "The song doesn't end when the singer goes home. It just moves into the next room." The album reached #1 in 14 countries, making him the oldest artist to top the charts with original material, a fitting final record for a man who made a career out of breaking them. A global outpouring of grief. The news of his passing has triggered a global wave of tributes. In London, fans have gathered at the site of the former Marquee Club, laying flowers and vintage vinyl records. In San Francisco, a candlelight vigil is planned for Golden Gate Park, where the Electric Orchard played their first U.S. show to a crowd of 50,000. The Rolling Stones released a joint statement. "Jackson was the best of us. He found the notes we were all looking for but couldn't quite reach. Rest easy, Ghost." Paul McCartney shared a photo of the two of them in 1968, captioned, "A true original. The world is a little quieter today and a lot less colorful, sending love to his family." The legacy of the Ghost. What remains is a discography that functions as a roadmap of the human spirit. From the distorted wails of his youth to the baritone wisdom of his final years, Jackson Thorne taught us that rock and roll wasn't just about rebellion, it was about connection. He leaves behind his wife of 50 years, the photographer Alina Thorne, 3 children, and a library of unreleased recordings that will likely keep his ghost alive for decades to come. As the sun sets over the Cotswolds today, one can almost hear the faint, shimmering hum of a 12-string guitar on the wind. Jackson Thorne has moved into the next room, but the music stays right here.